Good morning. Today we're going to be taking some notes. As usual, you can find these notes under the Classwork tab on the Google Classroom. They're labeled Notes 1-11. If you open them up, you will see the link to my YouTube channel so you can view the notes at any time. Once you open up the notes, again, you will see the red text boxes. You will need to fill those in by following along with the video. Once you click on the red text box, you will be able to type in it. So make sure that you click so that way you can add the information from the slides. You feel free to rewatch or re-listen to any part of this video so that way you don't miss any information, and let me know if you have any questions. With that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. So just a quick refresher from what we talked about before we left for break. What is a civilization? The term civilization is used to describe larger groups of people living together in one place in more complex societies with social hierarchies and specialization of labor. We'll go over what social hierarchies are in just a minute, but specialization of labor, if you remember from last unit, is when we give specific jobs to skilled members of society. This became popular after the agricultural revolution, when people had to spend less time hunting and gathering as farming provided more food. And so we were able to give people jobs like artists, merchants, traders, and pastoral. A social hierarchy is an order of social classes with producers at the top and with leaders at the top and producers at the bottom. Producers are those that produce goods and services. Leaders are those that take part in the actual planning and organization of society. During this era, between 4000 and 1000 BCE, or before Common Era, this new way of living began to develop in different parts of the world. So like I said, a social hierarchy is a way that we organize groups of people in our society. At the top, again, these are the leaders. These are people that are making the decisions and enforcing laws. In most of these early river valley civilizations, at the top were the priests or kings. Priests were held in very high esteem as they were thought to be the ones that could communicate with the gods. I say gods, as many religions at this point were polytheistic, meaning they believed in multiple gods. The next level, these people are still influential. Landowners, many landowners in Mesopotamia were very powerful. Government officials and merchants. Merchants are people that trade. They might have a small business. Then you had farmers and artisans in that third level. Artisans are people that create art. So these are people that are potters. These might also include scribes or people that can write. They're going to be seen as very important, as many people back in this time period did not know how to read and write unless you went to a specific school to become a scribe. Then finally at the bottom you have slaves and criminals. Slaves were often people captured in wartime, or we'll see in Mesopotamia many of these people were people that owed debt or owed money, and so they could be sold into slavery to work off their debt. They could also sell their children or their family members to pay off their debt. The good news, though, is slaves were not mistreated as we normally think of when we think about slavery. Life wasn't great, but they could have certain rights. They could partake in trade. They could buy their way out of slavery and go on to lead successful lives. As you can see, the further down you get, it does get harder for you, whereas in this picture, you might get a little more poop on yourself. So these social hierarchies were often very rigid, meaning it wasn't easy to move up levels or improve your status, and life would remain hard. As you can see, you have the most birds in that third level with farmers and artisans. It's going to be the middle class, which is often the largest. When we talk about these factors of civilizations like social hierarchies, we're going to mostly be talking about these 4 early river valley civilizations. You first have the Nile River Valley civilization and what will become Egypt in Africa. The one that you've heard me talk about quite a lot already, Mesopotamia, located in the Fertile Crescent, an area defined by the flooding of both the Tigris and Euphrates River. And then we also begin to see a civilization develop in what will become India, which experienced similar flooding of the Indus and the Ganges River Valley. And then finally, we begin to see larger farming communities develop in what will become China, along the Yellow and the Yangtze River Valley. Make sure that you label these 4 areas on your map in your notes. Once you are done with your notes for today, please make sure that you go back to the Google Classroom and read more about social hierarchies and answer the questions on the article posted in the Google Classroom. If you have any questions, please let me know. I will be happy to help you. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day.